Wait, hold on. We're live. We're trying to get things figured out here. Let's figure it out here. Hold on. Sometimes it's better.
Yeah, without a lot of. We get the natural light.
The natural lighting. All right. Oh, yeah. Not as crazy. All right. Well, how are you doing today?
Oh, I am so well.
Good.
Yeah. How are you?
I woke up with a bad dream, so.
Oh, wow.
I was very heavy this morning trying to figure out how to snap out of it.
Oh, goodness.
I know. I don't ever have bad dreams, and this one was a nightmare. So, it's part of processing the emotions, and so trying to get through that this morning.
Oh, wow. Been there, done that.
Oh, it's like, what in the world? And it had to involve my kids, which is the worst, Don't mess with my babies.
Right, exactly.
The dream was messing with my babies, yeah. All right, let me see. I want to post on the wall here. So we're one more minute. Let's see here. Women of Purpose. It's our first webinar. You excited?
I'm very excited.
Me too. If you guys could see what we have going on in this room, you would probably laugh at us. I have to take pictures later and be like, this was our beginnings. I have learned to not be totally prepared. Just go do it. And then you'll work it out along the way. And that's what we're doing. So I'm going to see if we can hear ourselves. You can hear me at least because I have a lower voice. Where are we at here? We will start here soon, whether we have people or not. Manage. And where do you go? Some of you might have a difficult time seeing how to get in. So I am going to copy the link and post it in the group because this is for our Women of Purpose group, though others eventually will probably see this video and wonder why we're spending so much time here. Actually, I think we could edit it. I can edit stuff out later. All right. Let's see here. Post. We are live. Oh, copy the whole thing. Let me know if anyone comes in.
No one as of yet.
All right. Oh, it showed us in there. Did you see?
I did. That was looking down.
Oh, okay. We can hear ourselves.
Okay.
Okay, we can hear ourselves. Perfect. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. All right. Well, let's see here. We are going to go ahead. I wonder if I should stop it and then redo it and get rid of the beginning.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Let me in. Oh, someone's in. Or is that me? That might have been.
Yeah, probably was you.
All right, hold on. I'm scared to end and not be able to go back in.
Well, then maybe we should just leave it.
Yeah.
We can edit it later.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is our first time doing this. My first time. Is this your first time?
It's my first time.
Okay. So we just jumped in and I scheduled it and said, you know what? I'm going to figure it out. And I have been working on it. And last minute, I'm finding new things every day and last minute stuff. I had hoped that Melanie didn't have to come all the way over here if she wanted to do it from the comfort of her home. But at the end of the day, I'm actually very happy you came because, relational, and that's what we're focusing on. So I'm going to go ahead since we're already 2 minutes past 10 o'clock and I wanted to start at 10. And so I have my notes because Sabrina will get off track and go off on rabbit trails.
Sometimes the rabbit trails are good, though.
They are good. And we will go the rabbit trail as need be.
Absolutely.
Well, this one is about the power of women and relationships and building a community. in a disconnected world. I don't know about you, but this is something that, holds really strong to my heart.
Yeah.
And we thought that this would be a great way to kind of kick off our home groups, the small groups that we're going to be, they're not home groups yet, small virtual groups that we are doing for Women of Purpose, start creating some relationships. And then the goal is to eventually maybe start opening up the homes. I'm so sorry. Are you playing footsie with me?
I kept feeling, I was like, wait a minute,
I kept
feel
feeling
softer than the chair.
dog.
What is going
I
on?
thought it was the dog.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh, she's playing footsie with me here.
It's hilarious.
I'll keep my feet on my chair because I
Me
have
too.
mine on yours.
Okay.
Melanie and I have been friends for a while. We've known each other for how long now? 20 something. Since our boys, I know once we were pregnant with our sons.
Yep.
They're in their 20s. And then we disconnected, through a certain season that we were all going through, and kind of went, go through your own little side valleys and hills and mountains and all that. And then one day we reconnected. How did we end up? It was at a restaurant, right? You were coming out?
I saw you walking into Ragtime.
Ragtime.
Yep.
That's no
And
longer
I was
around.
walking out.
Yeah.
And then it was like, whoa, Sabrina, hey. So that's how we reconnected.
Right. That's how we connected. And that's been a few years ago now. And
Yeah.
we've been back steady. Actually, Melanie was my maid of honor for my recent marriage here about 8-9 months ago. So Melanie is actually going to be doing the one of the facilitators too for our home groups.
Yeah.
She's going to be the facilitator for the Saturday morning group. How do you feel about that?
I am excited. I can't wait to get going on it.
Me too.
And preparing, and got some good stuff planned.
Yeah. Well, share a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am the youngest of 12.
12.
I was born and raised in northern Minnesota, and I'm so happy to be here in sunny Florida. I am much more of a warm weather girl. I love the outdoors. It's just my favorite thing. Love to be out and just feel the sun on my face, the sand in my feet, or just being amongst the trees. And I talk to trees, and every once in a while I hug them too.
Oh, she's a tree hugger. She's a tree hugger.
I love to kayak. I love hiking. I love biking. I have 2 children. I have a son and a daughter. They are both adulting now on their own. So now I am just trying to have Melanie come out. It's my time. I'm learning my identity because sometimes, as women, we like to wrap up our identity in our children or being a wife or a career, so on and so. So I'm just learning. I'm going through this, relearning about who I am process right now.
I love it. I feel like it doesn't matter what age we get. We're always going through different seasons of learning our identity.
Yep. It's so true.
Yeah. Because it depends on what season. You know, you're a teenager and, you're got an identity of that. And then, you get into the 20s and now you've got a different identity. You have kids, you get married. That's another identity.
Yep.
And you're trying to figure that one out. Never been a mom before. So you're learning how to be a mom.
Yep.
You've never been a wife before. You're learning how to be a wife. And, then you get to a point where you don't have those responsibilities anymore as you get older, like we are. Our kids are out of the home. I have 4 children. They're all adulting as well. My youngest is 21 and all out of the home and doing their life. And I am remarried. And so now I'm, new, beautiful relationship and learning what life is outside of being a mom. I mean, obviously we're always moms, but it's definitely a different dynamic. Sure. So definitely still learning who I am and my identity and being in my 40s. And I know as each day gets, goes by, I'll probably be learning some more. So, well, I am so excited to do this with you and do this with all of you. This is going to be part of, I call it the beta group for our new small groups that we're launching in March. And it's going to be limited to small groups of only 6 to 10 people, just so that we can get connected and be authentic and grow together and do this life together. I don't know about you, but we all face challenges. Some are the same, some are different. But I need a community personally, just so I can go to and bounce things off of, or get a second, ear, help kind of set me straight sometimes, or even teach me some things.
Right.
I mean, I wish I had a community of women surrounding me when I was a young mom, and taught me how to cook, because my poor kids really struggled.
It is a challenge.
Did not know. They got tired of eating mom's chicken. I don't eat chicken anymore. So I know, I wish, I had that type of community as well, of women. I think about community and how it used to be back in the day. What was it back in the day? They lived in villages.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right?
That's where the phrase, it takes a village, it comes from. Back culturally. Back then they did live in small little communities where they needed and depended on each other so much.
Yeah. You think about it. You had the moms, the grandmas, the neighbors. You had cousins and aunts and uncles, and there was never a moment that they were doing life alone and trying to figure out how to navigate. And I feel like some countries are still doing that, and they still get the importance of family, of having that family support. I feel like they are definitely more well rounded and more balanced to their core. And then, we used to have the front porches. Everybody used to be on the front porches.
Yes, absolutely.
I miss that.
To go back to those days.
I know. I grew up with a porch in Indiana, and we had one of those L-shaped porches. We lived in an old historic home. And wow, I love sitting on the swing and watching my friends, and they come up and talk to me, or my mom's, the neighbors, and everyone would always gather together. And now, we all go into our houses and hang out in our houses or in our backyard. And you don't ever see anyone, hardly at all.
Well, just a little sidebar. We do have an event here in Jacksonville for anyone who's local here in Jacksonville. It's called Porch Fest. It's in the fall. It's in a very historic part of Jacksonville called Springfield. Most of the homes were built in like the early 1900s, and they all have porches, and the community comes together and they offer their homes to be platforms for musicians or any sort of entertainer. And then they have all kinds of like food vendors out and about, and it's just a great event if you get a chance. Porch Fest.
I've always wanted to go, and I feel like we're always busy and we can't get out and go do it.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I heard. Well, especially with the music. My cousin lives out there. She bought a house out there, has a porch, and it's like, it's so cool to live in a community like this.
Exactly.
Well, we want to focus on how to build a community. Since we don't have it as much, it's not easily accessible as what it used to be back in the day, or what is, in other countries. And, I find that it's a challenge trying to, get connected with other women. What are your thoughts on, why you think that there are challenges in today's, society with getting connected with people or with women?
Well, from my own personal experience, I, in my early 20s, had issues with forming a community with women because I found them to be very judgmental, very catty. Felt like I was always being scrutinized, find out they were gossiping about me, and I just didn't feel safe. I didn't feel like it was a healthy environment for me to be in, so I gravitated more towards having male friendships. So I just want to put this out there, ladies, try to be the agent of change in your community, and try to be encouraging and supportive, and just be a light in your community. And I know that it is a challenge, especially with our Western culture. Just go. We're always so busy. We always have so many things on our plate. And especially if you're a mom, you're just spinning so many plates. There's so many responsibilities and so many things that pull at us. But we have to take time for ourselves. It's very important to find that community because there's so much that we need from each other that you have to find that place. And even if you don't feel like you have anything to give, just the power of your presence is vital. Even if you feel like you're just going to be there taking at first, each, we talked about seasons earlier. Some of us might be in more of a giving season. Some of us might be in more of a taking season, but together we all fit, and it's a part of the community process and growth.
Yeah. I think too, part of the disconnect that I hear, yes, the backstabbing, the cattiness, that middle school, mentality. And some people don't ever get past that, unfortunately, and they're way, adults. But it's finding your tribe. I feel like it's not everyone is going to be, part of that tribe, and recognizing that some people are just, it's just not meant to be, and that's okay. But there still is a tribe, a sisterhood that is really one that we could connect with. And I always find it interesting because it is in our nature as women to nurture. We are known, we have a very strong history of women leaders. We lead the home, we guide, we direct, we constantly growing. We're caretakers. We are, nonstop, always helping others. So if we're always helping, right? But yet we're not helping each other's, womanhood, right? And so it is, I think, pushing past the past rejection, the cattiness, and finding that healthy tribe. I speak a lot with my clients about boundaries, and I'm a big boundary person. I will probably talk about boundaries in every single conversation I will ever have. It's vital because it reduces stress and anxiety, one, but also two, creates healthy communication, healthy relationships. That way, you're able to continue having good, strong, healthy relationships where you can still navigate through life. And also, I believe, if we do get catty, right? Let's say you and I get into an argument, we disagree. It's the importance is coming back around, apologizing, valuing the relationship more than the disagreement, or maybe we just had a day, maybe we just took it out on someone that's really close to us, and going back and saying, what, just being authentic and vulnerable, saying, I'm having a difficult day and I'm sorry. I know I took it out on you. I was snappy. I was irritated, whatever the situation is. Or it could even be, I was withdrawn. I haven't reached out because I'm going through something. And I know me personally, that's what I do. I withdraw.
The same. Yep.
I'm like,
and I just back off because I feel like I'm no good to anyone else. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to spew yuck on people if I am in relationship with them at that moment. So I just back off and I say, I don't want to do that to anybody.
Right. And isn't that something? I think we all do that because we don't want to be a burden on other people. We want to be like, well, let's keep the mood, happy and positive. But how do we get to the happy positive is by community and reaching out and being real and authentic and saying, I've had a bad day, or, I had a bad dream. I had a really bad dream. I woke up this morning. Actually, I woke up at like 5:30, could not go back to sleep because I have a puppy that decided for some reason out of the blue, he's going to wake up early this time when he's not been waking up early to go to the bathroom, and then he whined because he wanted to play. So it took me a little while to go back to sleep. And then when I went back to sleep, I had a horrendous nightmare. And I woke up because my puppy had to go to the bathroom again. So he woke me up out of that state of dream, and my heart was racing. I was panicking. My emotions were through the roof. I was like, oh, and I had to get myself out of it. And I started putting some things into play that I have learned, where I, ground myself. I start focusing on the 5 senses, where you go through to disconnect that brain. So thank God I had that. But
Yeah.
I needed someone to talk to. And I did reach out to someone this morning and couldn't really have that conversation because that person didn't have a voice. They lost their voice last night.
Oh, goodness.
And so, just was like, all right, this isn't going to really be in the best place. So I'll figure it out and get through it. And so I wrote right in my journal and everything. But we need community.
Yeah.
We need that instead
Absolutely.
of trying to deal with it. And sorry to be hogging this, but real quick, one thing. I was thinking of how we, as women in a community, need one another so much so that we don't keep it internal. Because what happens is we internalize and we keep it in here, and we never get to process our emotions or process these struggles and challenges we're going through. And we are kind of taught in this society to be strong, independent, not lean on anybody. We got this. We're supposed to do it all, juggle it all, keep it all up in the air. And in the meantime, what happens is typically it'll express in our dreams. It will come out in different areas of our life. It could be sickness. It could come out just ultimate different things. So we got to have that time. So my question is, how do we get to that point where we reach out, even though we are feeling the way you feel? Because I feel that way too. How do we get to a point where we feel, I guess, safe that we can go to someone when we're struggling with something?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of times you just have to take the first step. You just have to trust that when you do approach a community, that it is going to be a safe zone for you to be able to share and be able to be vulnerable. And that the women around you are going to protect you. They're going to support you. They're going to hold you up when you're weak. They're going to be that shoulder to cry on when you just need someone to be there to comfort. Somebody that's going to be your cheerleader, that's going to, encourage you to keep going. Somebody that's going to have some guardrails. A community a lot of times will provide the guardrails for you to keep you focused, keep moving forward in the right direction. A think tank, a lot of times you just need to reach out, even if you have an idea. A lot of times you just have to put the first foot forward. And just see how the community comes and rallies around you. Putting yourself out there initially can be intimidating. It can be a little scary doing it. But I really feel that if you go in with the right presence and the right motivation for being a part of community, then that's what you will attract. So just put yourself out there and see what comes back to you.
It made me think about this time when it was a few years ago, quite a few years ago, 2016, 2017 or so. I was going through a very low, difficult time. At the time, I didn't realize that I was fighting depression because, I'm like, I'm a Christian. I don't, Christians don't get depressed, And so I didn't really understand what was going on. But now where I'm at now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was depressed. I was in a ministry. I was very active in the ministry. I was leading groups. I was as high as you could get in that ministry without being the main head pastor. And so when I got to that, ministry level, which was very controlling, very, the dynamics just were not healthy. And the reason why I say that is because when you get to that level, you only have so many friends, and they're only the people who are at the leadership level, because now you're leading everybody else. And so you have to have this, have it all together. Everything's perfect. And then only within that level of leadership did they really truly understand maybe some of those struggles that you were going through. And so when we left that ministry, I lost all my friends. Everyone. They totally alienated me out of there. I was not allowed to be talked to. Would try to leave on good grounds. And the things that, there were a lot of shady stuff that went on behind the scenes. And the way we were handled was extremely hurtful and painful. And so I had one person that had already, I kind of, kept in contact with, that had left previously, and invited them over. They had children for lunch. And then we had such a great time. I'm like, well, let's do this every other Tuesday. I think it was every Tuesday morning for lunch. And we just get together with our kids and we pray for one another. Well, from there, I started inviting other women into my home for this, and it grew. And it was more of about lunch. It's all about really, just being there, hanging out. One day, I ended up on the floor crying. I had just, bleh.
Wow.
I just, all these emotions, all these struggles, and I just cried. And I'm like, I can't move on. I feel stuck. I can't stop having these dreams. I was having dreams like crazy. I had, and I just shared, just blah. All these women in the room got on the floor with me at my level and embraced me. And for the first time in my entire life, did I felt such love from women authentically. And they just started sharing their experiences. And from there, I was like, I'm not alone. I'm not the only person that is, has been dealing with the same thing. And other women started sharing and how they felt alone. And then they started sharing what got them through it. And they started giving me strategies on how to help me, move forward. And there were some practical strategies that I had to do. One was I went and unfriended all these people on my social media accounts for me. And that was one thing that's told, don't do that. That's so unhealthy. Don't go blocking people or whatever. But for my general well-being, and that worked for their well-being. And I noticed when I implemented that strategy, boom, changed my life.
Right.
Depression, I felt like just broke off of me in that moment on that floor. And then I just felt this renewal of aliveness. And to be honest, that's where Women of Purpose came forth, because we started gathering, like, we need a name for this group. And I was praying about it, and Women of Purpose is like, we are women who have purpose. We are, going to live purposeful lives no matter what surrounds us. So what is one, I guess, as I share my story, do you have a story of like where either one person or a moment or community really was there for you that helped you through,
absolutely.
your life?
So I had just recently found out that my husband was having an affair with one of our employees. And at the time, my children went to a private school, and we had a school function that night. The night that or the day that I found out that my husband was having an affair, I had to go to this school function. I was just a mess. I was a hot mess. Well, another mom in my child's class saw me walking into the building, and she could tell there was something just really, really troubling going on with me. And I didn't know her very well, but she just stopped me and she put her hands on my shoulders and she just gave me a hug. I don't even recall her saying a word. She just gave me a hug and she held on to me. It was a really long hug. And physiologically, I don't know if you've ever studied what happens to us with prolonged hugs, but then all of a sudden serotonin is released. A lot of stresses are released. It's very soothing and healing, even just the power of a hug. And she gave me such a long hug. And it was like that gave me just the strength to walk into the building and make it through that program that my daughter was in. Well, later that night, I go home and I'm all alone and I'm crying on my bed and I hear a knock at the door. And I'm like, I do not want to go answer the door. I'm such a mess. I didn't want to answer the door. I really didn't. I just wanted to be by myself, but I really felt like this pull. I needed to go answer the door. So I did, and it was her. I didn't even know where she got my address from. Somebody gave it to her. Thank God. She didn't say a word. She just grabbed my hand. I went and we just cried together. Oh. I didn't even know her all that well. And she just held on to me and I just cried. It was like an hour. And then mind you, it was like 2:00 in the morning.
Wow.
She just held me She stayed there with me for about an hour, and then she looked at me. She goes, "It's time for me to go home. I just wanted you to know that people love you
Oh,
and
wow.
we're here for you." I was like, wow, that was powerful. Jennifer, I don't know if you're watching, but I love you. Thank you.
Oh, I love that. It's, those moments of embrace, which I absolutely, sitting there thinking, I'm like, oh, that's why I love your hugs. I could see why you're a tree hugger, but even a people hugger.
A people hugger too.
Because your hugs are so warm and so real. Like I can feel whenever you give a hug, there's more than just a physical, like, okay, I love you,
Right.
it's a warmth, a releasing of energy, and it does release. They said, interesting fact, talking about facts. Did you know the oxytocin that gets released in sexual activity? Do you know that oxytocin gets released with relationships with women?
Amen.
That when a woman shares and we can communicate and we have that authentic connection, that it releases the exact same chemical in our body.
Wow.
Which of course does a whole bunch of health,
Yeah.
healing into our body. There is and it makes sense why there's a business company out there that they're professional huggers. Have you heard about that?
I have not heard of it. I want to be a professional hugger.
It's real.
I love
They're
it.
professional huggers. And guess what? People will hire these people that are part of the professional hugger network to come and just hug.
I love it.
Just a hug, sit there and hug. And so
I found my next career. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Maybe you'll be the professional woman hugger, You need a hug. We're going to have it set up, a booth hugging station at the beach because you love the beach, but just
exactly. I'll have my bare feet in the sand while I'm giving you a hug.
Yeah. And I laugh, but some people will think it's weird, but it's not. It really, if something is so healing and something that should come so natural. Some people, they're not natural huggers.
Mm-hmm.
They feel uncomfortable receiving a hug. And I encourage, if you're one of those individuals, take a step and start hugging those that you love, that you feel comfortable with, until it becomes comfortable. I say that because I was one of those people. I would not feel comfortable with hugs at all. I do this little hug,
side hug. There.
So nice to meet you. Arm's length, but even with my own family, my children, once they got to a certain age, I felt uncomfortable hugging my own children. And I was like, this is not normal. There's something deep rooted here. And so I had to start purposely getting to a point where I'm like, okay, I am going to get comfortable with this. And I started off with my kids. And now, man, I even noticed my children, before they used to be like a little cold hugger like me. And now they give me hugs. I feel the difference. I'm like, oh, I love the hugging. But, it does release something. And we got to get to a point where we're getting a lot more comfortable with that. So like you were saying, let's start implementing this change, stepping out. You said, how do we get there? We have to step out. And get out of our comfort zone. And the only way that we grow in these areas is by stepping out of that fear and moving forward. How do you step out and do that community, the relationships?
Well, sometimes it takes courage. You just have to do it afraid. Sometimes you just have to just put your feelings aside and just have some sort of an action and put yourself out there.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest. It's easier said than done. But there are so many benefits that come from, just
physical touch.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I think physical touch, physical connection. I know right now we're starting off with doing everything online. But that is not the long-term goal. I want everyone to know that eventually it's going to be physical interaction because, we're living in a social media society and we are more connected than ever, but yet more disconnected than ever.
Yeah.
And that definitely has to do with the lack of physical, connection being in a home together, or going out to a restaurant and, having, dinner together, or a cup of coffee or tea over brunch. Just having that time together in a safe place, building a community of trust. And, I know it's not easy in the beginning. I can watch the dynamics of people where if they don't know each other and I bring them all into a room, those that know someone, they're more apt to connect with that person, right? And then the people who don't really, I'll see them on the outskirts kind of stand, and by themselves. And so I always try to get them connected with somebody, because I know that it's uncomfortable at first. You feel disconnected, but I would love to get to a point where you feel empowered enough to where you have that courage, and that someone else isn't having to pull you in. I mean, it's good. We should all help support and encourage and connect and introduce. That's important too. But also for you to have the empowerment and the courage to stand out and go, okay, I'm scared. I might have butterflies, especially if you're an introvert. Introverts are very, very, fearful, and that's okay, because it's part of your, personality disposition. But you knowing that that's a part of you, you have to step out even more, push yourself, because otherwise you miss out on beautiful relationships and connections and doing life together.
Absolutely.
Well, I need some more. Hold on.
Do it afraid.
I was thinking also, how are some ways even today that you could do, connection? I put a thing out in the Women of Purpose group to have a challenge. And that challenge was to reach out to somebody. And you did.
I did.
I love that. I was like, yes, I wish everyone else would also let me know that you were doing this stuff. Because sometimes I'm like, am I just like throwing things to the wind here? Maybe I am, I don't know, but if it's just one person that steps out. So how do you feel like that went? What was the process? Did you feel fearful? Did you feel encouraged?
Well, there was some relational disconnect with these people that caused a lot of hurt. There may have been a little unforgiveness still there between us. And so we just kind of just didn't talk to each other for years. And there was two women in particular. And we used to be very, very close. So, and I felt the wound very deeply of not being in relationship with these two anymore. And it was on both sides. There was definite healing that needed to happen. And so when I just simply just put out, hey, I wanted to let you know how much you've meant to me and how grateful I am for everything that you've done for me, and I will always cherish our friendship. Just what came back to me was just beautiful. So now I feel like we can have restoration in that relationship. The door has been opened for it. And I honestly put it out thinking there's a possibility that I might not hear back. And I had to be prepared for that. So I kind of guarded myself, and it wasn't maybe necessarily that I guarded myself, but I didn't put any expectations on. I was doing it authentically just because I wanted them to know how I felt about them without needing to receive anything. I wasn't doing it to get a reply, but when the reply came, it was very soothing, very healing. I really feel like we can have reconciliation now. And so I'm preparing for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. I remember whenever, thinking about some of the things that affect us from not reaching out, is that judgment, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but do you ever feel like you're, somewhere out and about and you see someone and immediately you think, oh, they're stuck up, or you think that, oh, they're not a person that's nice, or without ever talking to them, without ever having any substance to go with that. Or maybe you did, maybe you said hi and their response wasn't the happy, oh, hi, welcoming response. So immediately we withdraw, we isolate, and we just don't go there, right? That fear of rejection, because all of us, I mean, please tell me if you don't have a fear of rejection at all in any area of your life, please let me know.
How do you do that?
Yeah. Without having walls, stone
Right.
cold, where you just a cold person.
Right.
Okay. I feel like there's that, everyone has some aspect. We don't want to be rejected,
No.
right? We want to be accepted. We want to be part of things. I feel like all of us at some point have some FOMO going on, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to miss out. So we have a fear of missing out. So, if that could be even the driving force of knowing this person could actually be somebody that I could connect with. And maybe that person, maybe when they responded to you, they had a judgment about you. And that's why or what's their motive? Is there some kind of, motive behind it? And that's something that I recognize with people. Sometimes it's like, okay, what do they want? Why are they reaching out? Why are they talking to me?
Yeah.
Well, why? And instead of coming with that mentality of skeptical, being skeptical and protecting ourselves, just stepping out and saying, okay, if they reject me, then they reject me. But at least I tried. At least I was, hi, how are you? Get to know them and go with an open mind. And then if it shows that they just, toxic or it's just not meant to be, then it's not meant to be. It's okay. Move on. It could take just 1 out of 10 people that you talk to. It could be that one person that could change your life forever. Absolutely. For the better. Yeah. And so, just really pushing forward and saying, I'm going to just step out of my comfort zone and go and, try to make a connection with somebody. What are your thoughts?
I love it. I think in our culture today, we put so much emphasis on just the external, how somebody looks, how they dress, what car they drive, so on and so forth. So we tend to live in a very superficial, judgmental society. And so it's so important to you yourself not get caught up in that. You've got to look beyond that. Honestly, I know I've been judged many times for the way that I even walk into a room. I'm very confident, assured. I am very, I would say, social. So I walk into a room and a lot of people just think, oh, she's stuck up, or, ooh, I don't like her. She's really strong. I sometimes do come across as being very strong personality type.
Because you are very strong.
I am.
Which is awesome. I love it.
But I get a lot of initial judgment regarding that. And I promise you, I am very tenderhearted. I'm very soft. I'm very loving. I'm very compassionate. I hate to see anything suffer. And so to get an initial judgment of that is really, and we do it to other people a lot, you're missing out on so much more. Look past all the superficial outward. Try to get past that and find something on the internal that you can grasp onto. And a lot of times community too, sometimes we just have to find a community, even if it's based upon some sort of a athletic group. If you want to join a pickleball group, because you might not even know where to start. Maybe a belief community. If you're a Christian or you're a Muslim, go find a small group in that community. If it's just on, hey, I like to go hiking, let me find a hiking group to start that initial connection, but try to go in without having the judgments that we just talked about, trying to build that authentic community, moving past just the superficial.
And I can say that I experienced the same thing from even when I was a kid in school. I remember, I'll never forget, in 6th or 7th grade, middle school, there was a girl that used to bully me when I got on the bus. I always say to myself, I was just like, oh my gosh. And she just harassed me every time I got on the bus. And one day we were in gym and we were sweating She runs to the water fountain. There was a line for the water fountain. I was in front of her, and she was sounded like she was going to die. And so I looked at her and I'm like, this girl needs more water than I do. So I said, here, go ahead, you get some water. And she drank water, and she turned around and she goes, you're not what I thought you were like. She's like, I thought you're stuck up. I thought you were better than everybody else. And from that moment on, she's like, listen, anyone messes with you, they mess with me. She's like, I got your back. and then from there, she's go announcing to everyone in the school, she's the sweetest person ever. Yeah. I'm like, okay. But, I think that it's that, maybe it's just the demeanor, the look. I know for me, I feel so bad. I could stare at someone and not even be looking at them. I'm very ADD. I am very, always brain is thinking something. I'm always moving forward. I've literally walked away from a conversation where I'm talking to someone, they're talking to me, and all of a sudden I don't even know what happens, but my brain is like, oh, and then I walk away. And I've had them come to me and go, Sabrina, that was so rude. You just walked away from me. And I'm like, huh? I did? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. They're like, I was talking to you. And then so I have to focus on that about me, because I realize this is my personality. Stay focused on the conversation at hand. Don't let your brain go on the squirrel trails. But, really giving other people a chance, and also not taking it personal. I mean, that's something that I've learned to go, okay, I understand I'm being judged. I've been judged as, the best one for me, being a blonde.
Oh gosh, yes.
Blue eyes. Yep. Living out to the beaches. She's a gold digger. That was whenever I was single. Gold digger.
Like, what in the world?
Where are you getting that from? I've got my own business, or I'm doing my own stuff. I'm raising my kids. I could care less about freaking money. I mean, I grew up very independent. I was taught to change my own tires. I helped get on the roof of my roof with my grandpa and fix shingles. I'm a get your hands in the dirt type of girl. Don't depend on nobody. My mom was a successful business owner. Strong, independent woman, single mom. And so I have definitely learned to not depend on anybody. My mom gave me that very strong sense of, independent, but just the looks of me being blonde hair, blue eyes, and single, I automatically apparently was a gold digger. I don't know if you get that because you got blonde hair and blue eyes.
Yep.
And you're like the most independent, strong person. You're like, no one's paying for my stuff. Actually, I pay for your stuff.
Yeah. I am very independent, but
you are.
I'm trying to be less independent on myself. I realize the value in depending on other people. I don't have it all. I don't have it all. And that is getting back to the value of community. That's again. Good. We each have different strengths, and iron sharpens iron. So a lot of times when we are in that community, when I have a weakness, somebody else can link up with me that has a strength in that area that can help bring me up. And it's important, the community that you do have around you too, because you think about this visual. If you're standing on a table, is it easier for somebody to pull you down or for you to pull them up?
That's so good.
That's why you have to be very careful, the community that you're building around you too.
Yeah. That's powerful. My gosh, it's so powerful. And that's something that I've had to learn, is not to be as independent, and ask for help, because I can easily not ask for help and try to deal with it on my own and try to figure out how I'm going to survive. Or I get myself burnt out because I'm trying to do it all. And I have learned to put my boundaries down as well. I started implementing some strategies of asking for help, because it's so hard for me to ask for help. I don't know why.
Me too.
And accept help when someone's offering. Yes. My bestest friends, man, I like Tracy. Oh my God, I love Tracy, because Tracy and Missy too, my husband's cousin. Those two, they come over. How can I help? And I'm like, no, I'm good. I want you to enjoy, because I want people to enjoy when they come over. They don't listen to me. They get in there and they start cleaning the kitchen, cleaning things up. And I feel bad. I feel so guilty of like, what am I going to, do? My puppy is here, barking here at my feet. I don't know what's going on here. But it's something that I'm like, because I feel like I can do it. I want them to enjoy. And I'm like, they came to my house to enjoy. I want them to enjoy. But I tell you what, for them to take that effort and be like, I'm going to do this anyways. Maybe it's because they know Sabrina will not ask for help, and Sabrina does need help because at the end of the night she's dead, and it has this whole mess sitting there going, why didn't I ask for help? Do that every time. Why did I not ask for help? Why didn't I say yes when Tracy is not over?
Right.
I'm like, oh man.
And then you have to think about Tracy and Missy as individuals. They might enjoy helping.
Yeah.
I do that too. I want to be functional in relationships as well. And their gifting might be the gift of helps.
Yeah,
so they enjoy it.
That's true.
So you got to give them an opportunity to have that gift,
that
being
outlet
worked out. Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
true. Not allow your or pride to get in the way, and that's all part of community, right? That's all part of building this community where we learn to rely on one another, allow that, but also be there for them. I have my other areas of strength that I like to help people with, and other areas it's not me. Food and beverage industry is not me. Like if you want me to cook and be a part of the cooking, plan, or bringing food and stuff like that, I will go to the store and buy something pre-made, because you don't want me doing that. That's not my gift. That's not my talent. And so I have to make sure people don't get offended with that. I'm like, because it's just not me. And it's okay, because it's accepting what your strengths are and what you have to offer, and but also receiving the strengths of others. And, I love when you come over. You're so peaceful. This girl, she brings so much peace and calmness and patience. I'm like, you are the most patient person that I have met. I think I'm pretty patient. At least my husband tells me I'm so patient. But this one right here, I'm like, she's just like calm, collective. I'm like, makes sense why she's a tree hugger. Like it all goes hand in hand. Why she loves nature. I probably need to get in nature a lot more so that I can really connect and have more of a peace about me as well. But I mean, I'm peaceful.
Right. Well, I had to cultivate that. That did not come naturally.
Yeah.
No. So just through mindfulness, being aware, and just making sure that I internally, am calm, and I keep proper perspective on things. That has allowed me to walk in so much more peace.
Yeah. Yep. That's good.
Well, thank you, friend, for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. She was part of the, I got married in the Bahamas, and we did a cruise ship. So we had to get off the cruise ship, go to the buses, and then the guests, everyone had to go from the bus to the island to where we were getting married at the beach. And then it was me, and then, some of us that had to wait to let everyone get on, but we were on a time schedule. And then I got into my car, and she was pushing everyone, but like, get on the bus. You don't understand. I'm stressing. They're here. They can see me. And she just stepped up to the plate, took charge. And I'm sure, some people didn't receive it too well. Like, who are you telling me what to do? And probably judged you because you're blonde and got blue eyes already. And now you're like, I got that. Got some resistance.
But the day was about you. And I wanted to protect your peace. You needed to be just calm and enjoying the moment. So if I had to go in and be drill sergeant to get it done, I was more than willing to step up to that.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that's sisterhood. That's relationship. That is something that is so vital, because really, if I didn't have that, if Melanie wasn't there doing that, my stress would have been through the roof, because one, financially, we had a time constraint where if they didn't depart at a certain time, we were getting charged a lot of money for every however long it took to get out. And so I probably would have already, it would not have turned out good. Let's just say that. And so having that, that piece of making sure I had peace, you're taking care of me, that's sisterhood. And that's why we need a community of sisters. So that's why we have this Women of Purpose group. I put this Women of Purpose Facebook group together for the sole purpose of having community, to start building something where we encourage, I might pull back because Melanie was, sharing, maybe because of lack of engagement in the group, maybe I'm posting too much. So I don't want to bombard everybody. But I do want start building a community of support, and then the small groups. So if you're not part of the small group, I will expand it. That's why we're doing twice a month. That way, if you're in one group that meets on the first and third Thursdays, maybe I'll open up a second and fourth Thursday. And that way we have, groups going. But that way, that's the way it starts off, is doing the groups. It's going to be a hot mess, I'm sure. We're going to have to work through some things, like I am here. The table's moving, and
let's do it together, though.
Yes,
okay?
We're going to grow together. If you just have patience with us as we do this, it's all about sisterhood. It's all about a community. It's not about me. It's not about her. It's not about one person. It's all about us growing together and doing this journey together. And maybe you have a group that you're already a part of. You've got a church that you're going to. Really just engage, get connected, ask them to go to lunch. If there's someone that you're like, I'd like to invite them somewhere. It's so funny. I have a friend that so we had kids in dance, and I would sit in the little waiting room while my daughter was in dance. And then I was pregnant with number 3, but then I had number 2 there, my son, and in the waiting room. And there's a mom that she was there as well. And she had a son my age. Our daughters were the same age in the same classes, and she was pregnant as well. And I thought, she was cool. She was full of life. She would laugh. I'm like, I love this lady. She is awesome. So one day, I'm like, you know what? We would talk and everything. So I decided to step out and ask her, I'm like, hey, I'm going to the beach. Would you like to go to the beach? I was like, we can all go to the beach tomorrow. And so we're at the beach, and we got along. It was great. Later on, she tells me, girl, I thought you were crazy. Here's this crazy white girl asking me, a Black woman who is pregnant, to go to the beach out in the hot sun. What is wrong with her? And I'm so glad she's like, what is wrong with her? And I'm so glad that she went, because we maintained being friends years and years beyond. We still stay in contact. She's come over to our house, her and her husband, even through the transitions of my own life and everything. And precious, precious family. And you know what? All it took was me just inviting someone to the beach. Just saw one common thing that we had in common, and I just thought she was a cool lady, and I'm like, I love her personality, so why not?
There you go.
So get connected. If you want to get connected with the small groups, with Facebook small group, connect with the Women of Purpose group on Facebook, and reach out to me. I can get you in there if you can't find it. And then if you want to get joined in on one of the small groups that are virtual, we're starting off virtually. That way, if you're anywhere in the US, you can join and get connected with other women. That way, if you ever move, guess what? Still got those relationships. And then maybe you'll come to Jacksonville, if some of us are in Jacksonville, or maybe if you live somewhere else and we all go over there and we go have fun on vacation too. It's all building this community. So get connected there. Again, that starts in March. Now, put a little disclaimer here. We are not professionals. Okay. We're not doctors. We're not therapists. We're not licensed in those areas. We just come from a place of experience and a heart and a passion to grow together. And so everything here is for entertainment purposes. So we just want you to know that, just to help all of us grow together.
Yep.
Anything
Absolutely.
you'd like to say?
I'm just really excited to meet some new people as well and get to know you all. And I hope that some of you are able to join my small group. Did we decide we're doing the first and third?
Second and fourth.
Oh, second and fourth. Okay. Second and fourth Saturday at 11. I've got some great stuff already prepared and ready to go for you.
Yay.
excited.
So excited. And Melanie is full in on this. I love it. She has a book over here that she's reading. Find your people. Building deep community in a lonely world.
Yes. It is a great read. Highly recommended if you're interested. I got it on Amazon. And yep, learning a lot.
Okay. Well, I will post a link for that book for those who are interested. You want to check it out in the group. So anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful, if you're here looking at this on Saturday, I hope you have a great weekend.
Mm-hmm.
If it's during the weekday and you're watching this later, you know what, have a wonderful weekend, night, morning, building community. Reach out to your loved ones, reach out to some people, and let's stretch and grow together.
Absolutely.
All right. Well,
right.
we will talk to you later.
Right. Bye.
Bye.
Until next time.
Until next time.